now tuned in to the Cold Hard Truth, Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips@CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to another segment of the Cold Hard Truth. I don't know why you're not seeing me, but let's give it a second here. How is everyone? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Where's my camera? Okay, let's give it a minute to wake up. I think it's like literally falling asleep here, but I see that you guys are here for it. Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me? I guess is the first question that we're going to start off with. What's going on with my little camera? Let's try to restart it. Start it back again. Is it gonna wake up? Oh, I think I've got to start my other software. Hold on 1 second here, folks. Give me 1 second. There we go, and there I am. There it is. Good, folks. Let's zoom in just a tad bit. Lizette Atlas Anne says, yes, you can't see me. Melita, thank you so much. Evelyn, Maureen, Lizette, Aldine, Huslin. You guys are all for it here tonight. Dawn, Evelyn says 100 plus people already. They're going to roast you tonight, Sandy. Lord have mercy. What is going on? Well, you guys come here for nothing more than the cold hard truth. Hello, Olivia. So we've only got an hour tonight. So let us jump right in. Yeah, there's a few of you on YouTube and a few of you on Facebook. So yes, here I am, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and let's get on it. So the main topic tonight is going to be about the necessity to be honest in your dealings. So we did a story today on the website, Jackass of the Day. And this young lady, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful young lady. But I have some questions. Her name is DIVYA Jefferson. Now this is gonna get a little bit interesting here in a second. I'm gonna tell you why. No one knows who DIVYA is except I guess her friends. Well, she's married to a Jefferson who is contemplating very strongly throwing his hat in the political arena. So this becomes much more of a public interest story than you may have known before knowing that fact. So this young lady contacted us about her bracelet and said that she lost a bracelet that was very precious to her because she had just received it for a birthday present a few months ago. And you guys know that Cayman Mall Road has reunited. My God, I have lost count of the number of things that we have reunited with their rightful owners. Everything from money. Remember the Jamaican guy with the bag of like $10,000 in cash, his passports, his jewelry, all sorts of stuff was in that bag. And when he came to us in tears, he pretty much had given up 4 or 5 days after he lost the item and thought for sure that he would never recover that bag again. And lo and behold, CMR steps in and he recovers it intact, everything in the bag that was supposed to be there. We have reunited people with their dogs. Birds. The birds are the ones that always get me because these little birds, they're so smart. They just fly off whenever they feel like it. But we have put the word out there. Somebody's bird is missing in this area and this is what it looks like. And all of a sudden we get a tip. The bird is in the tree right now. Here's the geolocation for it. Go grab the bird. So, at the end of the day, we have really done, I think, an amazing job by all accounts of helping people find their lost goods. Sometimes when we first get the requests, it's one of those things where you go, boy, I don't know if you're going to find this one, but you never give up hope. People have lost rent money and we have helped them recover their rent money. So you always have to believe that an honest, decent person is going to find the goods and maybe just hasn't had a chance to go to the police yet. They haven't turned it in, whatever the situation is. So in this case, this young lady reached out to us. I had actually, ironically enough, seen the post in several groups that I'm in. Because what happens is normally they'll go to like Real Women of Cayman, they'll post it up, and then people will tag me and say, well, who you really need to be, asking to help you find this is Cayman Mall Road because they find everything. So we have a reputation then, if you will, that precedes us. So this situation was no different. I didn't think anything differently about it. When the young lady made contact, I said, okay, great. She explained that, it was an item that had great value to her. She really, really wanted to find it. And, she suggested then that if we could post it up for her, there was a reward involved. Now, I want to be very clear. We have never taken a reward for anything that we have helped someone find. I think there was one situation, it wasn't finding anything, but it was a situation that we intervened with a company. And the guy who I happen to know said, Sandy, you do so much for this community and you don't get a dime back. This was even before CMR had advertising available or any of that. And he's like, you don't get a dime back from what you do. And so I want to just show my appreciation. I know you're not going to want to take it, but can I just put $100 in your hand? I think that may have been what it was. And I was like, all right, that'll be lunch for a couple days, whatever. So other than that, we've never, ever accepted money for a lost item that has been found. And I don't need the money. That's not why I'm doing it. Even if I need the money, that's not the point, right? Okay. So on 2 occasions during the conversation, and you guys know we believe in being completely honest with you. That's the only way that I can operate the cold hard truth, because the word truth is a component of the cold hard truth. So I can't get on here and lie and misrepresent the facts and not provide accurate information, because then it wouldn't be the cold hard truth. So she indicated that it was lost somewhere between Cayman Bay and Ikoa. Now, Ikoa is on West Bay Road. That's a long ways from Cayman Bay. So it could have been anywhere, and it could have been lost anywhere in between the two, to the point where it might have gotten ran over by a vehicle. So the first message we received from her was at 9:02 p.m. And it's a rose gold bracelet was lost this afternoon between Kimana Bay and Aikoa. If anyone brings it to your attention as found, please let me know and I'll provide proof of ownership and a reward to the person who finds it with no questions asked. I've submitted a police report for a lost item and have contacted both establishments, but nothing has turned up as yet. Thank you. Then she said, before we even had an opportunity to read the message or respond, please keep anonymous as I would prefer not to bring too much attention to myself. Hello. That was at 9:02. We didn't respond because no one read the message. 10:39, she came back again, so it was now quite late. Hello, I lost a bracelet that looks like this. Please let me know if anyone messages you to say that they found it. Then we finally respond at 10:39, right? And sometimes what ends up happening is, we've had this happen with a dog before. Someone was messaging us about the fact that they lost a dog, and another person has messaged us saying that they had found a dog. And I'm looking at the pictures going, I think this is the same dog. And it turned out to be the exact same dog. So that's just how the cookie crumbles. That's how it happens sometime. And, you know, it is what it is. All right. So we're all too happy to help, which is our MO. So we say, sure, we will help you. No problem. She says, also offering a $500 award, not reward, but award, but I knew she meant reward. No questions asked for return. So again, mention of, now we're getting into specifics, a specific amount, no questions asked once again for its return. So I said, right. I said, let me see if it's this one, because someone had posted something in the women's group saying that they had found something, a bracelet or something. So I contacted that person, showed them the picture of this, and they said, no, that's not it, and so on. So we're like, okay. She replies, thank you very much. I don't want to post my profile, so have reached out to Facebook pages asking if they would post it anonymously. So I'm like, okay, no worries. We can do that. She gives a little bit more information about how it was given to her as a gift for her birthday 2 months ago, blah, blah, blah. Fair enough. She comes back again. Thank you. It was lost in or around Abacus, I believe. So now we get a little bit more information. So it's not just between Aikoa and Kimana Bay. Now we're being told Abacus and will offer a $500 reward. So we see mention of this $500 reward yet again. Now there is no indication of whether that's $500 CI or US. Now I assumed, because we live in the Cayman Islands, and when someone talks about a monetary amount, if they do not mention that it's US, we don't deal in US as our primary currency. So I assumed myself that that $500 meant CI dollars. That's an assumption on my part because it never says KYD or US, but why would anybody logically think US? I certainly wouldn't. We go on. So at 10, that was at 10:33, which I think there's a little bit of a time difference here, right? So not even 10 minutes later, we messaged her and said, hey, found your bracelet. That's how quick. We put it up and somebody messaged, a young man messaged and said he had found the bracelet. When he saw the picture, he immediately realized that this is the bracelet that he found, and he had taken it to a jewelry store. So I said, okay. Now let me share some of what he had written, just to be completely fair, unbiased, and impartial. So he says, let me just go. So he says, let me just back up in the messages. Good night. I just saw your post about the bracelet. Can you contact the owners, please, and let them know I have found it? It is currently at such and such jewelers, waiting to be fixed. It was broken when I found it. I was like, hey, OMG. That's exactly what I said. I was like, oh my God. I said, what is your number so I can arrange your reward? So I was the one who made mention of the reward, but the reward was in the post. I'm going to tell you why that's important here in a second. So he gives me his contact number and I confirmed, okay, this is where it was dropped off. He said, yes, the same day he found it, he took it there because it was broken. And I said, no problem. I contacted the jewelers to make sure they had it. They confirmed, yes, that this bracelet is here. Right. And then he replies to me to said, did you get in contact with the owners? And I said, yes, I've given them your number. Now, this was the 15th. So, oh my goodness, excuse me. So this was the day, the day after. So the 15th was Monday. On the Sunday night into early morning when he was messaging me, say, hey, I found it. The next day, later on in the day, I'm like, yep, I've contacted them. Now, when I contacted this young lady, she said, she was so elated. I cannot believe it. This is wonderful news. And I said, right. I said, how do you want to do this? Because you've said to me that you didn't want your identity to be posted. Do you want me to handle it? I'll get his information. Do you want me to, give you his number? Those are basically the two options, right? So basically, she said, no, give me his number. And I'll deal with it from there. So I said, okay, no problem. She wants to deal with it from here and absolutely no problem. So he's messaging me saying, did you give her my number? So now, when you're in the middle of something and you're going, something's not right here. You were so ecstatic about this bracelet being found. I would think that you would have immediately contacted the person who found it. OMG, thank you so much. I appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. So I was beginning to find this a bit odd, like something was unsettling about the whole situation, right? So, them old people say, follow your gut. So I'm thinking, okay, this is feeling a bit off. In the conversation I had with her, I said to her, listen, I did not put the amount in the public post, which sometimes we do not, only because this might have been a situation where more than one person assisted with the recovery of the item. So in that case, in my mind, it would only be fair to take the prize money, the reward money, and to split it in between the two individuals. Okay? So now that we can clearly see only one person found it, well, he's going to get the reward. I'm not interested in your reward. I don't want your money. I'm just glad that you and your bracelet are going to be reunited. So when he's saying to me that, no one has called him yet, this was the following night, almost 24 hours later. It was actually over 24 hours later, yesterday at 12:18 a.m. So that's in the morning. This is 24 hours after now that you've been notified that your bracelet has been found. And by the way, the bracelet was already picked up and collected. So I'm thinking, okay, this is really weird. So I said, yesterday afternoon at 3:30 p.m., I said, let me message her and see what's going on. And now I say to him, the reward was $500. So make sure you collect your reward. It was at that point that he then messaged and said, okay, well, I only got $100 US. Did you guys hear what I said? The reward was going to be $500. And like I said, we don't know if it was KYD or USD. We assume, since we live in the Cayman Islands, that if you say an amount and you don't specify otherwise, that it is KYD. This guy basically got $80 CI when the reward was supposed to be $500. So I said, no, man. In my real Caymanian voice, as I wrote that, I said, I will have to rectify this because this just isn't right. Listen to me. I grew up with an aunt who I always felt like she was 80 years old, but she really wasn't the entire time. But she really instilled some values in me that I try to live my life by. One of those values is honesty is the best policy. Let me tell you how much she believed in that. If you did something wrong and you told the truth, you had a chance. It kind of depended on the mood she was in. You had a chance of not getting your ass whooped. Okay? However, if you lied about it and she found out that you lied about it, woo, you were going to get double the whooping. One, for doing whatever it was that you did, and two, for lying about it. The cold, hard truth, folks, will always set you free to a certain degree. I'm telling you the truth. Okay. So I'm thinking this must be a mistake here. And then he says, unfortunately, after all, I was offered $1,500 CI for it. And I was like, I believe it. And I said, well, at this point now I'm back and forth. I'm talking to her. And she says it was badly damaged. He said the bracelet was found. Hold on one second here. Let me scroll down. The bracelet was found between Abacus and West Indies Wine Company on the road. It seemed to have been ran over. That's why it was damaged. It was found in the same condition I took it to the jewelry store in. So I said, that's strange, because she has said to me, hello, I contacted him. I had an extremely busy day, but managed to sort that out. Okay. Not busy enough to send your husband pick up the bracelet. Anyway, I digress. I discussed it with an attorney, and they instructed that I give $100 because of the state it was given back in. Now, who else is thinking that this is super weird? What person decides to contact an attorney about a reward that you already had agreed an amount upon? Now, when you decide to give a reward back or provide a reward for something that you have lost, is it contingent on the fact that you get it back in a certain condition? And if that is the case, the finder may have no control over that. But maybe that's the kind of thing you want to say up front. You don't want to just do like a 180 afterwards, right? So I thought, wow, this thing must be in really bad condition. She says it was badly damaged after all, from when it was brought in, and the repair has to be fixed. Okay, the repair has to be fixed. I also had to pay for the repair to get it back from the jeweler, and we'll have to pay for fixing the work done from that repair. So basically she's saying the local Caymanian who did the repair job didn't do a good job. And she's not happy with that job. So I'm thinking, wow, we can't be sure. Here's where we go a little left field. We can't be sure, but it looks like the bracelet was cut, possibly from someone putting it on and not knowing how to get it off. I didn't ask the gentleman any questions as to why it was taken to a jeweler or about the damage as opposed to being turned in right away. We felt the amount I gave was fair because it was badly damaged and not in the original state. Now, here's the problem with this. I contacted the jeweler who fixed it, and he was shocked at these comments. This is a jeweler who has fixed, designed jewelry for over 30 years, who I have seen with my own two eyes, other customers coming through his door, and people saying to him they had taken work to others that had been less than professional. And he fixed it in such a way that they were beyond elated. So now I'm puzzled by this story. And I'm thinking to myself, something just doesn't add up. How can a jeweler with 30 years experience in the industry say to me that, first of all, she's being dishonest? This was his opinion. The piece was not that badly damaged. He said what it appears to have happened is she must have hit her hand against something. And the reason why I'm going to believe this jeweler isn't just because I know him and the type of person he is, and that he has a rock solid professional reputation. But when I spoke to her on the morning of her finding it, I said to her, of us notifying her it was found, I said, maybe you need to talk to this jeweler about putting a double clasp on this bracelet. She said to me, it has a double clasp. Now, you know what a double clasp is, folks. It's one of those where you got to push it in and lock it down, right? I've got a bracelet. I don't even know where that bracelet is because I hardly wear anything anymore. A tennis bracelet that has that exact same design. So you push it into like a little groove and then you lock it on top. So the idea is even if the top one comes off, you're not going to easily pull out the other. It's like double lock. That's exactly what it is. And she said to me that her bracelet has a double lock. And I'm thinking, well, how did you lose it? So his theory that she must have hit her hand on something, maybe getting at the car door or whatever on a chair. And that is what caused it to break. Not her theory that someone put it on and then couldn't figure out how to get it off and then cut it. That's not what happened here at all. So the bracelet was damaged from the time that it was found, right? So principle number 1, Aunt Lottie's pearls of wisdom. Honesty is always the best policy. I believe that to my core. I feel like this young lady is being less than honest because if the jeweler says to me, this bracelet is not in that bad of a shape. And you know what else he said? He said, let me be very, very honest here. If this young man had taken this to the pawn shop and had this melted down, she would have never found her bracelet and he would have gotten at least $500 for it because it is 18 karat gold. And the pawn people, there's another, I don't want to single out the pawn shop necessarily because there is another gold, cash for gold business. They would have known the value of that Cartier bracelet and would have gladly taken the gold from it because 18 karat gold has value. It's not 10 karat and it's not 14 karat. It is 18 karat. They would have melted it down and he would have walked away with $500 hard, cold cash. Now he said, and I'm not picking his word over hers, that he had been offered, and I don't know who would have offered it to him, $1,500. So the other pearl of wisdom that Aunt Lottie always taught me was your word is your bond. If you say you're going to do X, you do everything in your power to do X. Come hell or high water, if you give someone your word, you try to stick by it. And that is just what it is. So I'm confused as to why all of a sudden you needed to contact a lawyer. A bracelet that is probably valued at least a couple $1,000s. You have to contact a lawyer to tell you, I wonder if the lawyer charged her $500, to give you advice on what you should do about something that you had given as your word. Why would you even contact a lawyer? Like I was reading this thinking, I'm confused. This is making my head hurt. It seemed unreasonable. The words that I had been reading really wasn't making any sense. So then I said, I really think that you need to do the right thing. So at this point, remember, she doesn't know that I know that he only got $100 because she never said that to me. So I said, the young man said he hadn't heard from you because we were kind of going back and forth. Since it was just him, I did confirm the $500. So then she comes back and she gave this long response that you saw there. I was the one who said that he just messaged to say he only got $100. And I just saw his message. I'm like confused. I spoke to the jeweler. He's saying something very different. And his repair job, which he said because it had broken, there was a link missing. So his repair job was only to solder it back together, was $25. So now I said, please do the right thing here. This is making me very upset because I hate to see people, and CMR is in the middle of this now, right? We're the conduit. We're the ones who said, yep, your bracelet has been found, blah, blah, blah. And you know what happens when people find themselves in a situation like this? You almost feel now like you don't want to help people again. Because you're like, are other people going to do this? Are other people going to say, yep, I'm going to give a reward, this amount, whatever, and then they don't, and then that starts to reflect poorly on us? We don't want any part of that. We don't want any part of anyone who's not going to keep their word, because we're all about the cold, hard truth, and we are all about keeping our word. So if we start associating with people, even when it comes to finding their personal items, and then they don't hold up to their word, I felt yesterday personally responsible, and this bothered me. I'm not going to lie to you. It really bothered me. And it's just not right. You know what I'm saying? It's a matter of principle sometimes that you just do the right thing. You promised a reward. You promised $500. You just pay it, man. You don't find excuses to not pay it. And even if everything she has said is true, right? We will give her that, even if, we're to discard the jeweler of 30 years, discard what he said, discard what the guy who found it said, all of those things. And what she's claiming is true, that it was badly damaged. You still have it back. Or was it better that you never got it back at all? Right? So there's still the possibility that you could repair it even further, since you're not happy with the repair job that was done. I'm disappointed beyond. And of course, you guys know how this works. People in a certain position, once they see the story go up, the first thing she's going to do, ring, ring, RCIPS, this is harassment. Wow. So here we go again, folks. You know how this is going to turn out. We're at it again. We do our best in this community to highlight so many issues. And I'm telling you, we get our butts handed to us for it. We're not going to stop, folks. The people deserve a voice in this country. You're not going to get it from your politicians. I hate to give you that wake-up call. Her husband wants to run for political office. Good for him. You're not going to get a voice from people like that. They will not represent you, right? They're not going to tell you the cold, hard truth. They're not going to be saying, you on a matter of principle, you keep your word. The young man who found it, I don't know him. I don't know his financial situation. But you know what? When he saw that post and that promise of a reward, that could have been him thinking, wow, in the middle of COVID, I'm going to eat. I'm going to be able to pay a bill over a piece of jewelry, right? Let me not sell it. Let me not pawn it or do anything else. And then to question his intent after you have said, no questions asked, to me is duplicitous. That's like a Spanish machete. And this is what the young man then had to say when he is understanding what is fully going on. He said, honestly, Sandra, This just looks terrible from all angles. At this point, it's not even about the money because I'm content in knowing that I did the correct thing. However, the message I received from her was very accusing and implied that it was me who broke the bracelet and seemed to hint that I may have taken it directly from them. Say what? Now, with the help of so-and-so jewelers who gave me the first and last name, she has my information. So I don't know why that information was given out. But again, as Caymanians, we're like, this guy is doing the right thing. What's the big deal? Because I never gave his name. I just said, this is his number. I believe. I'm pretty sure I did. And she has my information. And then she's begun to text me, hello, Mr. So-and-so. That was her telling me, and I quote, I know who you are. This all feels very shady, and it makes me uncomfortable the way things were handled. At this point, I was better off throwing it in the bin because now this lady thinks I may have stolen her bracelet, broken it, and was going to fix it and sell it. It could have all been handled without my information being thrown around like I was someone who came into their house and taken something, which I literally just found a bracelet that had been on the street. Then she went as far as to say that the bracelet looks like it had been cut. So now, knowing Cayman, she has any and all means to spread false rumors about me and slander me behind closed doors. I don't like to jump to conclusions, but based on the fact that she said she'd spoken to an attorney and the value of the bracelet could very well possibly have been friends in high places. I don't want to seem paranoid or grasping, but it's not hard to think that one day I may need a job somewhere and my name will ring a bell back in the story they heard over dinner about a Caymanian who tried to get away with stealing my bracelet. The man makes a valid point, folks. I'm sure you know better than anyone else how Cayman truly works. And it makes me feel like no matter what angle or approach I took, I was screwed from the start. If I'd taken it to the police, it would have been, oh, he tried to steal it, got scared and turned it in once he saw the post about it. The only way I could have come from this ordeal unhurt is by just throwing it in the ocean. That's how he's now feeling. For all we know, she was asking the attorney if she had any grounds to persecute me. Nothing I would put past the wealthy people who live on this island because I know and I have seen the things that they've gotten away with just because they have more money in their pocket than the next person. This is how now this young man is feeling from this experience. Buenas noches, ¿cómo estás, Elizabeth? And this is very, very, very sad. Every person now who finds something that's lost is going to be thinking, what do I do with this? I don't want the headache. I don't want the headache of having to deal with this situation. Now, let me tell you a story, a true story. I feel like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when I just said that for some reason. About how finding something can get you in trouble. Because I know from personal experience. Because remember, I got dragged into court for the very first time in my life in a criminal court over a dog that I had found. Do you guys remember this? This is around 2009, and this is when all of my issues with the RCIPS and the DPP started. So until then, I'm almost 40. I think I was in my late 30s, right? Never gotten in trouble with the police. I'd never been arrested, nothing. So it kicks off with the allegation that I stole a dog, right? So I understand this young man's sentiments very, very well. I found this poor little boot that had one wonky eye looking that way and the next one looking that way. The dog, when the dog was looking at you, you couldn't tell. Cross-eyed, like I don't know what. The tongue hung out on the other side. And I'm thinking, this is one ugly dog. But that not Coco. No, Kathy. Coco's cute. Excuse me. but Coco is the cutest little dog. This dog was not Coco. As a matter of fact, this dog was such a hot mess that I named her Precious. Because you know when them old people look here and go, Precious. You know what that means, right? You're special. So I named this poor dog Precious because she was special. And, you know, I did the most. First of all, I was like, you're ugly, you're dirty, you got ticks or fleas, you're not coming in my house looking like that. First thing I need to do is take you to the groomers and take you to the vet. In the meantime, I'm going to try to find your owner. So I'm there sending out BBMs. Remember BBMs back in the day? I still had a BlackBerry, send out a BBM blast. I found a dog, snap. Here's a photo of the dog. If it's yours, I'm in the Newlands area, let me know. Posted it on Facebook. I posted it on EK Trade. I posted it on Cayman News Service. They have a little classified section. I was posting it all over the place. In total, including notifying the vet and notifying the groomers, I was telling everybody everywhere I went that I found this dog and I'm looking for the owner. 6 different places I posted about this dog, and I still got dragged to court claiming that I stole the dog. So I totally understand what this man is saying about when someone has deep enough influence, whether it's monetary influence, political influence, whatever, all of a sudden they can trump up some serious charges on you and take you to court accusing you of all sorts of ridiculousness. Here's the best part about it. I want you guys to, I'm not drinking coffee tonight, but I feel like this should be Hennessy. Listen to this story now. I notified the police that I had found the dog and still got accused of stealing the dog. So here's how that went down. I was sitting there with my friend at the time, John Douglas, bless his heart. John, hope you're doing well. John has got to be at least 84 now. He's just the loveliest person. So I was sitting there in my apartment talking to John, and I don't even know what we're talking about, whatever. And the police had come knocking on my door, asking me something about the neighbor and something about a tree and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I said, yeah, I don't know anything about that. But this dog I found today, can you help me find the owner? So this police officer, I'll never forget, she looks at the dog and she goes, oh, that kind of looked like my friend dog, you know, who lived around the corner. I can check her and see. I said, okay, no problem. Never heard back from her. So lo and behold, now, when the police come to me about, oh, I've stolen this dog, because what eventually happened is 2 weeks later, we find out that the dog belongs to the girl right across the street. And not only does it belong to her, and she must have seen me walking this dog 10 times a day because she never had the dog potty trained. And I'm like, you're not pooping in my house. I'd be walking that dog morning, afternoon, mid-afternoon, nighttime, all over the place. She claims that she never saw me walk the dog. I'm like, wow. Like literally right across the street. Okay? All right. When she came, I was actually more than happy to give her the dog back. As you guys know, I love me a dog. And I was starting to get attached to this dog. And I didn't want any more dogs because my 2 other dogs, Rupert and Oscar, had not too long died. And I said, that's it. I don't want any more dogs. I can't take the heartache. I can't take the stress. My girlfriend, Mary, can tell you how many tears I shed over my poor dogs, especially Rupert when he passed away. And I was like, I don't even want that. I just want my freedom. If I want to travel, if I want to do whatever, I'm not thinking I got to rush home to go feed the dog, to walk the dog. No. Okay. So I said, sure, you can have your dog back, because she stopped me one night. I think that's my dog. The only reason this young lady stopped me about the dog is because her kids saw the dog and said, Mommy, I think that's our dog. And I guess she felt obligated to ask where I got the dog from. And I said, I found the dog. He came into my yard. Now I had all kind of witnesses that knew that I'd posted everything all over the place for this dog. I had the gardeners who were doing our lawn that day who saw the dog come onto our property and literally ran to my door. Right? Because we even had a brief conversation about it. I had the vet who could confirm that, yes, in his notes, I said I found the dog. The dog was in such deplorable condition that I had to take after I took the dog to the groomers and then the vet said, take the dog back to the groomers because it has so much hair inside of its ear from not being groomed for so long, the dog can't hear. And I was wondering about that because I thought maybe the dog was old and deaf. When the matter eventually got to court, folks, I find out that this dog was only a couple years old. It looked a hot mess because, as the vet told me, somebody hit the dog in the head. It was probably an accident. Maybe the kids got a little bit too rough. I don't know. Somebody hit the dog in its head and shifted its eyes. That's why it had crooked eyes and the tongue was hanging out. So it's not even a situation where the dog was born with a deformity. Somebody in the owner's household did this to the dog. And I was like, oh my God, what kind of home was this dog in? Not getting groomed. Somebody hit you upside the head now that your eyes are all crossed. Just from my observations with the dog, right? The dog didn't even know how to jump on furniture. Now, what dog doesn't know how to jump on the furniture? Like most dogs, like, yeah, I'm here. The dog didn't know how to jump. I was like, what is wrong with this dog? Every night at 10 o'clock at night, no lie, the dog would start running in crazy circles, is what I called it. Just running. I'm looking at it going, okay, this dog ain't too right. This is one of them dogs, like in the middle of the night, honestly, you're going to wake up and the dog is going to have a knife in its paw about to stab you. This is what I'm thinking, like this dog's a little crazy. But as time went on, I discovered that the more I walked the dog, gave it a good walk, the less the crazy circles became. So I'm thinking, nobody was walking this dog. That's why it's not potty trained, right? Because it looked like an old dog. I mean, what old dog isn't potty trained or whatever? Anyway, let me try and get to the gist of it. Police come. Yes, we're going to take this dog, blah, 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 blah. Well, she came first. I said, of course you can have your dog. Here are your receipts. So she refused to pay. See how it always comes back to money? People can be so wicked and evil over money, right? So she refused to pay the vet bills and the grooming receipts that I'd given her. And I was also concerned about the well-being of the dog at this particular time. So I had a couple of questions like, what did you do to the dog? Why is the dog a little bit crazy? Why is it this head injury? She refused to answer my questions and stormed off. That's when she called the police. And you know, the police got enough time for me. So them and the DPP trumped up these charges about how I stole the dog. So we go through the whole process. They took the dog, put the dog in the agriculture department for months. She never visited the dog once. I was permitted, thank God for the people, good people in those days, who allowed me to go and visit the poor little dog. It was on medication because it had an eye infection, all kind of craziness. So I was like, please make sure the poor dog gets its medication or it could lose its eyes. You know, she didn't care about the dog. Not once did she pick up the phone, ever call to even inquire if the dog was still alive. But yet I'm being dragged through court for trying to steal a dog. Anyway, we get to court. None of the magistrates wanted to touch it, as you know. Ramsey had to recuse herself from it. She's like, no, whatever. Acting Magistrate Furness threw the whole thing out. He said, this is the most colossal waste of money and police resources that I've ever seen. This is not a criminal case, folks. This needed to be handled between neighbors. And this is where sometimes you just do the right thing. I wasn't trying to keep your dog, but at the same time, you had an obligation to pay your bills, the bills that I had accrued in taking care of your dog while you allowed your dog out and about, running about. So during the course of the trial, I find out quite a few things about the poor dog, the true age of the dog. So the dog was very young, although it looked older, it was very young. I also found out that she had the poor dog on an automatic feeder. So in her police statement, I feel like these two statements, I'm going, first statement says the dog went away on this day. The next statement says dog went away on this day. The dog had broken through the screen on the screen porch, probably had enough of them, and ran away. And I'm like, and to be honest, she lived right across the street. I had never seen this dog. Never seen her walking it because she doesn't walk the dog. So the dog was put on the back porch with an automatic feeder, a water bowl. Some days they would go and not even really interact or check on the dog. And it was no wonder then put down a little pad for it to use the bathroom. So it was no wonder that the dog was running in circles because the dog was literally stir crazy. Anyway, you guys remember the whole hoopla with the trial once it started and all her friends came out, you know, trying to do the most. Oh, she stole my friend's dog and blah, blah, this. And yeah, she's a thief. Oh, this Sandra Catron's a thief, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I had my evidence lined up and thankfully that judge had sense. Now, I'm not going to say they all do after what happened last month. But the most interesting thing about it is well, after the judge threw it out, I sued her in civil court to get my money back. And of course, I won my case. And she had to pay me back my money. So the end, she still had to pay me. Well, poor dog, she got the dog back and it ran away at least 3 times after that. And then one day it disappeared for good. So this kind of brought me, as I'm reading what this young man is saying in his head, how he's like, boy, I don't trust the system. I don't trust people with money. I don't trust people with power because they will make all kinds of stuff happen to you. Can I understand and can I relate to that? Of course I can. He absolutely is correct about that. I would be concerned as well because now this has taken on a very different spin. And it didn't have to be any of that. It was such a simple matter. You said you were going to give a reward. It was not contingent on anything. In fact, you specifically said, I will ask no questions. I just want the bracelet back. Now, to be fair to the young man, this isn't like a week later. It was the same day that we got the message later on that evening. And yes, he had taken it to the repair shop. We always had a saying growing up, finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Remember that when you were a kid? However, you need to be cautious when you find things that you could be stealing it if you intend to permanently keep it and you have not gone through any steps to find the rightful owner. Having said that, let me say one more thing that I've observed about human beings in particular. And Trish, this is what I'm going to say to you in reference to that. Yes, people should. However, I think what happens, and this happened with the Jamaican fella with the bag of cash, that was 4 or 5 days afterwards, as you will recall. And remember, the Filipino guy said, oh, they had been going fishing and they found the bag early in the morning after it had dropped off of his car. Why didn't they turn it in? There is the feeling that, were they gonna keep it? Were they still thinking about it? And they said, we were waiting to see if anyone would post up about it before then making your move. So maybe they don't even trust the police. You know, people come from all over different places in the world. They don't trust that if they give something to the police that the right thing's going to be done either. So there's that possibility. So I'm not going to automatically assume that he was going to keep it for himself. You know, I think at the end of the day, there is that segment of the population that goes, I don't know if I trust the police. I mean, the second I find something, I'm the type of person, I'm going to snap a picture of it and post it up. Hey, I found this. Come and get it. Just like I did with the dog. But that didn't stop me from being accused of stealing a dog. And them trying to bring out a QC saying, well, she had the dog microchip. She did this, she did that. That showed her intent to keep the dog. I'm like, no. Any responsible person who has a dog in their care, right, should microchip the dog. You get the dog its shots. You take it to the vet, you groom it. These are things that you do. So when I found out that the dog had no microchip, I'm like, why doesn't the dog have a microchip? So I microchipped the dog. But I had advertised 6 different locations. Now, that particular owner had the audacity to say to me, well, why didn't you put it in the compass? Oh, yes. Excuse me. Because I must pay $300 for a compass ad to place in the paper for you to find your dog. And by the way, what did you do to find your own dog? Not a damn thing. She had not gone to the local vet in Newlands. She'd not contacted Animal House in Newlands. She'd not put up a single post on social media or anywhere about this dog. The burden was all on me. Right? So you see what an unfair and unbalanced world we live in? The burden was all on me. Amazing. That's right, Evelyn. Why didn't she put it in the paper? The same question I asked her on the stand. Why didn't you put it in the paper? Oh, today I now got a response to that. Folks, life can be interesting at times. And what I want to say is sometimes you just got to do the right thing, right? I don't know why the young man hesitated. I don't know why he took it to the jewelry store. And I can't speak to what his intent was. I can only go really and truly by what people say and when they say X, I'm expecting that they're going to do X. Honesty and understanding that your word is your bond. If we had more people in this world that tried to operate by those two basic things in life, you know how much better of a world we would be living in, folks? It would be so much better if people were honest. The court list would be very short. People would stop lying. They would stop doing fraudulent things. They would stop, stealing. Defrauding things. So this is where it's at, folks. Let us try to really do a better job at keeping our word when we say we're going to do something, even sometimes if it puts us at a disadvantage. You know what? I said I was going to do. Let me do it. Matter of time. Before, when you're the type of person who doesn't keep your word, I don't know if it's because you're cheap or whatever. When you don't keep your word, people are going to start going, this person is not a person who keeps their word. That's a problem. It's like the minister of hell went around shaking his employer's hands at work. They had so much respect for him. He says, we don't need a contract. I'm an honest man. I'm going to shake your hand. My word is my bond. Let me shake your hand, man. And they said, wow, this man is something else. This is amazing. That he doesn't pay your pension for years. Never paid your pension. Never set up a pension plan for you. I was in court on, I think it was Monday, and Magistrate Hernandez said, someone was there about pension payments, and she said, in my opinion, this is theft. And we need to do better than this. And we need to stop allowing employers to take pension from their employees and don't pay it, and then give them the most liberty when it comes to repaying it. And I thought, of course it's theft. And I was glad that she said that. But why is it not treated as theft? When is it going to be taken seriously? When is something going to be done about it? But she said, in my mind, this is, and I thought, wow, right? Honesty. Keeping your word. How simple can it be? Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate the love and support. I had court today. I'll bring you guys up to speed tomorrow on what transpired. And I want to get your opinion on something. I actually want you guys to help me make a decision about what way to go with something in court. So based on your feedback, I'll take that into consideration and kind of decide how to go from there. Folks, have a good evening. 1 hour went by so quickly. I appreciate you tuning in. At one point, we had over 180 people on the show tonight. Thank you so much for the love and support. We will be back here tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning. And don't forget, Cayman Mall Road is going to be your election headquarters. We are going to keep you informed with all of the latest information in terms of what is going on. We saw Kathy Ann Wilkes come out on Monday, was it? And wow, what an amazing response she has had thus far. So we're going to have Kathy on the program at some point. And we got to have Alec back on. We know that there's a number of community things that he's actually been working on. We need to get his input to hear what he's been doing. So please keep it locked here. 2021 is right around the corner, folks. And Cayman Mall Road is going to have it on lock just for you all. Have a good evening and talk to you first thing in the morning.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.